Hello and welcome to my next lecture. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can use reviews from different product listings to help you improve the listings for your product. Okay, so a few of the examples that I'm going to show here are listings that are on Amazon for various products, and I'm going into the review section. So for this one here, it's an oversized total body pregnancy pillow, or basically like one of those full-size pillows. So you can see that there, and it's one of those U-shaped ones, okay? So I clicked on the one-star reviews. So a lot of times it's important to review not only what are the good aspects about a product that you might be wanting to sell, but also what are the negatives, so that before you import this, or maybe even after, what you can do better. So maybe if you're going to import this, you want to see what some of the biggest complaints are for this product. So what I do is I create a spreadsheet, and I'll put the complaints in one column, and then I'll put check marks to say how many times did people complain about a particular issue for that particular complaint. So we could see some of them here, and some of the reviews obviously are just going to be silly. There's going to be like, this product, was terrible or whatever. It stinks. They're not going to be very helpful, but a lot of them are very helpful. So you need to read and see what they're all talking about. So this one here, I purchased for pregnancy and back pain for sleeping. It is nothing like the picture or how it is described. I'm so confused on the great reviews. The stuffing inside is already going into big bulges. So that's an issue. Okay, so it's going into big bulges and balls all over. Okay. And you start to see that. Very disappointed, and I had to hand sew my pillow back. It fell apart after 1 week of getting it, okay? So that could be an issue with the sewing and the stitching on the seams of it, okay? Do not buy this. It was not very good. When the case was taken off and washed, the whole case fell apart in the washer. Not only that, taking out the pillow itself had a huge hole in it, okay? So here, flat and bulky, so more. It's going into balls. Buy if you need a huge pillow on your floor. It was a very fluffy pillow. I had not used it in the second night. U-shaped, just like it says. But again, more about the bulkiness of it. So here again, ugh, I can't believe I bought this. It's lumpy. 6 weeks and it still smells of chemicals. The pillowcase is terrible, and it's cheaply made. The pillow is so big and it's not washable. Did I mention how lumpy? So the lumpiness was a big issue, time and time and time again. The lumps move and never fluff out. Okay, so more and more people, cheap, lumpy filling. Okay, so it's lumpy. So over and over and over again, understuffed, flat, long pillow, and it's lumpy. So more and more and more people has kept on talking about the lumpiness. So that's the issue with that one. So how could we have improved that? We could have said stuff like, making sure that the pill that we imported from China was not going to have those issues. So maybe when we got a sample of one, we would test it out to see if, it had that lumpiness issue, or if it smelled of chemicals or whatever. And you could even tell the manufacturer that you're going to work with what those issues were, and that you don't want to have those same issues with your product, and how are they going to try to prevent that from happening. So if they don't come up with a solution for that, if they say, oh, don't worry, everything's okay, our product's great, then, you might need to work with somebody else. Okay, so if they have a solution saying, well, maybe we could change the stitching, or, we could, use a different material on the inside so it doesn't create those big lumps, that's the kind of supplier you want to work with. Somebody that's willing to try to work with you to make it, the most successful product that you can possibly have. So here's another product here, an example, Super Hoops floating basketball game. So on the one-star reviews for this one, all of them seem to be about the same thing. Good luck putting it together. Waste of time, had trouble putting it together. All the pieces weren't there. Don't buy. This came missing parts, so we couldn't even put it together. Worst made product ever. It simply cannot be put together. Junk. Do not purchase. Extremely poor manufacturing. It results in extremely difficulty in assembly. Difficult to assemble. Product material was very poor. Could not put together. Hard to assemble, and missing parts. Not as advertised. Do not buy. I have assembled tons of toys before, and this one I could not assemble. So you get the idea. That was like 10 reviews, all about the same thing, saying it's impossible to assemble. So why would anybody buy this product? I have no idea. There's 19 negative reviews, basically all saying it's impossible to assemble. I don't know how it's a good seller on Amazon. It looks good. It looks like it'll be a good product. So you need to, if you're buying something that requires assembly, you need to get a sample and make sure you can assemble it. And if you can't easily assemble the product that you're purchasing, then the people that you're going to be buying it from you aren't going to be able to either. So if it's going to be an issue, move on to something else, something that is easy to assemble, or you have great instructions and say, this is how you assemble it in these easy steps, and you clearly lay it out, have pictures for the assembly with written words, if necessary in more than one language, if it's really that difficult to assemble, whatever it is, but try not to find pieces that are or products that are that hard to assemble in the first place. And if they really are, you might want to move on to something else. So with this one, that's how you can improve it. You find one that's not so hard to assemble. Make sure you get the sample of it and make sure that if it does require some assembly, that you could do it very easily and that they give you instructions or that you make instructions for your customers. So if it requires any assembly and there's no instructions, don't sell it. Make your own instructions. Whatever you have to do something about that issue, okay? So now here's an example of a product of what you do after you get some of those reviews to help your listing here. So in the bullet point section, you can see this is how this is written here. You're either going to put the benefits or the features that are great about this product, or you take some of the negatives and put a spin on them and turn them into positives. So for this one, for example, wood will not lose color or become rancid. Clark's cutting board oil will not discolor wood or go rancid. So basically, some of the negatives for some of the other products were saying, the wood was losing its color or it was becoming rancid after I used the butcher block oil. So for this one, for Clark's oil, he's saying, your wood's not going to lose its color or become rancid if you use my product. So it's turning the negatives from the other products, putting it into a positive and making it into a bullet point so that people know after they look at those other listings and they see all those negative reviews saying, oh my God, it's going to turn my wood a bad color. It's going to make it turn rancid. Well, Clark's isn't going to do that. Okay, and then same thing here. Clark's oil penetrates wood deeply. They might have seen some of the other reviews from other products where it said, well, the oil worked decent, but it didn't penetrate the wood that deeply. But Clark's, it does penetrate the wood deeply. So those are some examples exactly of how you could turn negatives and spin them into positives. The same way that you could do the same with this basketball hoop, you could say super easy assembly if yours is one that is very easy to assemble, right? So if yours doesn't require that much assembly, you could or doesn't require any, you could say no assembly required, straight out of the box, and ready to go, something along those lines. And then when somebody sees that compared to this one, when they read those reviews, they'll instantly buy your product, okay? And that same thing goes for this body pillow. You could say those same type of things. You turn the negatives into positives, and you could say lump-free pillow or whatever, something along the lines of whatever the major negatives are, put a spin on it, make it into a positive, and then you're saying that yours is good because it's not like the others on the market. Okay? But for the positives, when you look at the good reviews for products, you want to, replicate what the things are for the products when they are doing good things. So, you take a look at the positive reviews for products also. And for your products, you want to maintain those good qualities. So if, for example, people love the shape of it or the design or whatever, you try to replicate that as well. And, then you can make those some of the features of your listing. So like when we go back to this one here, mineral oil goes deep to prevent drying and cracking. Well, maybe the other ones on the market do the same thing. So you want to keep that same consistency. You don't want to just change that up. And revitalizes and conditions many wooden products, just like the others do, right? But so those are the positives, and those are the benefits of the product, and then these are turning negatives into positives. So a couple of great ways to use reviews on Amazon. Both work, so you want to look at both the positive and the negative reviews for potential products that you're going to sell. and use them in ways that's going to help you increase the sales for your listings, and also to help you find products and to develop the product in the correct way. So if you have to make alterations to the product before you import it, you do so before you go ahead and produce 1,000 items of something. You want to make sure that your manufacturer knows that maybe the product you're making requires double stitching or something, or requires, extra stuffing, or a different type of stuffing for the pillow, we don't want it to require such a difficult assembly process or something along those lines. So I hope you get the idea there. Stay tuned for several of my next lectures, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.